But then also by seeing someone else's belief system, you start discovering the same programs you witness in yourself. Yeah? And then it's kind of also, okay, this is really interesting because...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the You versus You podcast, where I talk with members of the Council for Human Development about how we can expand our minds and recode reality. Today I'm here with Simon Rilling, one of the co-founders of the program, who recently started training others. Simon, I'm very curious, since you're training others, how has other people's worldview in these training sessions impacted your personal perspective?
Hi, it's a true pleasure to be here again. Thank you very much. Yes, now looking back over the last 6-7 months, when I first encountered the Council for Human Development, it was in November, December. Now we are in July, so it's actually 8 months. And my perspective on life, myself, what I value as important has changed and shifted quite a bit over those last months. And training others was definitely and is definitely big part of this journey, expanding the mind and the awareness and discovering what it could or means to be human. And one of the things I witnessed in myself when I started this journey, when I started this training, like when I went through the training, there was not really an interest to train others. There was also not the belief in myself that I could train others, that I have like what I thought it takes to be a trainer or being a guide to someone else. I wouldn't call me confident or able to contribute something when I started this journey. So there was really a lot of question marks, and also not really this desire. I didn't get the sense, or why would I want to train or guide someone else? That changed over the first 6-8 weeks of the training quite dramatically, because first of all, I discovered that I very much, as everybody else on this planet, has potential and is a human after all, and also discovering this personal change in perspective, seeing the benefits of the training in real life, like going through it. It provided this, or like created this intrinsic desire to start talking to others about what I witnessed or what I realized and how my perspective on life changed.
And when you started the training, what was your initial perspective? What it would take to train someone? So what were the characteristics that a person should have in order to be a good trainer, in your opinion? And what was then lacking when you looked at yourself?
Yeah, sure. So initially I had this concept of that you need to study something, and also hearing about that just within 3 months, you're in a position where you can train someone. It sounded a bit absurd. I was like, what can I possibly learn within 3 months that will be of value to someone else? That was a big question mark, and that didn't make really logically sense to me. And also from my perspective at the time, I would want someone with confidence, or like a role model, like guiding or training me. And I didn't describe myself at that. I didn't identify myself at that point with those labels or with those characteristics. So it didn't make so much sense to me. And what I witnessed over the first 6, 8, 10 weeks, it was this change in perspective. Was, oh wow, I actually have a lot of potential. Wow, I actually have something to share to others. And that started when I had this intrinsic desire to, wow, I want to share what I went through, and this is amazing, and I want to enable others to go through their expansion of mind. And it was like, wow, I want to talk about it. I want to share this with others. And I'm very curious about how others actually think and believe. And I started talking to others, and it was this discovery that through talking with others, I can understand how they see the world. I can understand their belief system. And through seeing what I see of life, I can understand life, this experience even further, because now I have two perspectives to look at, mine and then the one of the other person. And I can very much learn something from what the other person sees, because I just have my perspective, and my perspective is somehow limited. I don't see everything. So by understanding how others see the world, think, what they believe, I have another mirror, another belief system I can calibrate myself with. That was one of the big realizations. But then also by me sharing my journey, what I learned, the steps I went through, I started witnessing that this is actually helping someone else, and that people appreciate that I'm sharing this, and that they get excited, that they start believing that there's more. And I saw that I actually can contribute something to someone else. And also my self-identification changed quite a bit from when I started. I wouldn't label me as a public speaker. I was very hesitant to talk on camera. I would not publish any videos. Like me being here in this podcast, like this would have been, I would not call it a disaster, but a very different experience.
A stressful situation.
Yeah, I would not have enjoyed it at all. I would have sit there maybe 2 days before, write down what I would want to say or what I could say, just to be prepared, just to have something to say, and would kind of like force myself to do it, but not be in a relaxed state and just talk whatever comes to my mind. And this changed over the first 2 months. So I was discovering, hey, I actually enjoy talking to people. And when I talk to people, I can provide them with a different perspective. So seeing this, I created this, wow, like actually it could be cool to train others, because also, and this was one of the question marks also in the beginning, it was like when I said, like, what can I possibly contribute, like after 3 months, in terms of what like, can I learn in 3 months that I can pass on to someone else. And seeing the massive shift in perspective for myself, being far more confident, like paying far less interest about what other people think, and also discovering that I can communicate my thoughts, that I'm a good communicator, and also starting to plug into my creativity and seeing how this can happen within such short time period. And also understanding that training others, it does not mean to go through a process in a sense, okay, now we talk this and then this and this and this, but it's being a guide to guide someone through the same methodology in a sense. It's like once you go through it, you see how your perspective changes from limited to far more limitless. Yeah, and going through this process, it's kind of guiding. It's in a way just guiding someone to go through the same, and by sharing your revelations, your experience, and also a transmission of. I mean that's also interesting to think about. It's not just words we communicate; it's also intention. It's also frequency, and going through this process of mind extension, or we talk about extending your bandwidth of frequency, you can decode or understand. So when we talk of that, everything is information, everything is frequency, and when we look into life through our left brain, which is like basically restricted to the five senses. We can just decode a very limited amount of information surrounding us, and by opening up your mind, rediscovering your right brain, you're extending the amount of information you can kind of make sense of, and this extension of awareness, of consciousness, and also the underlying intention of enabling someone to go from A, where it's left brain, possibly, as with almost everybody in the society, and a very restricted, limited belief set, which in this society we basically all end up with, a belief system we passively, unconsciously adapted. And then to go from A, a limited starting point, to B, where you define and identify yourself in a very different way, in a limitless way, because it's the first time possibly that you look at what you actually believe. And and also this training is the process to be the mirror, me, a trainer, be the mirror, the guide towards you, so that you can see your belief set, which is mostly crap. Yeah, in the society we're living with, we have all those programs. I need to achieve something to be worthy. I need to get recognition. I don't love myself. All those programs unconsciously kind of, you could even say, sabotage us, like creating a reality which is a reflection of our belief system. And through this training, as a trainer, it's in a nutshell nothing else to hold you the mirror so that you can see your belief system, and then make a conscious choice about what you actually want to be or have in there, what you want as a philosophical belief system underlying your existence, your reality here on this planet Earth. And this is, and yeah.
And what's your biggest challenge in being this mirror and showing other people their belief system? Because it's also something that you have to get used to, right?
Yeah. So after 2 or 3 months, my identification changed. So I was like, oh, this would be cool. So actually, I can help someone. I have something to pass on. But also by doing this, I will learn even more, because I will understand better how others think, what others believe. So I understood this kind of as a win-win situation. And once you're going through this training, you're sitting in your mind. It's introspection. It's like changing the way you see the world. But training others, it's kind of making the next step, because on the first hand, you have what you learned, what you discovered, you have to put in words to pass it on. And by doing so, you discover, like, oh, well, like I thought I understood this, but actually there's far more behind it. So it forces you somehow to look into things far more deeper than you did, because that's a bit of the illusion of our mind. We think we know, or we think it makes sense, but once you're expressing it, or once you explain it to someone else, it's, wait a minute, I didn't think of this one, or how is it actually? And so it forces you to go deeper. And but then also by seeing someone else's belief system, you start discovering the same programs you witness in yourself. Yeah. And then it's kind of also, okay, this is really interesting, because it's not just my programs. They have similar programs. And the more often you speak with others, the more often you see the same programs all over again. And it helps you, that enables you to move even further into an observer position. So one of the big discoveries was that, I mean, one is the intellectual understanding, or like talking about it. Yes, here my body and mind is a vehicle, is an avatar, but it's not me. I'm my higher self, a spiritual being, a consciousness, a potential, having this experience and using this avatar to explore this life. And every time you discover your own program, every time you discover a program of someone else, it helps you to differentiate even further. Oh, wait a minute, this is just another program. And it enables you to understand others better, and understanding, in a sense, less judging, because wait a minute, it's not the person, it's the program. And like all over again, similar programs, it's like enabling to be less reactive. It enables you to understand others better, and also yourself, because it's also that, wait a minute, now we discovered this program here, which is nothing else than a defense mechanism to defend an existing belief, which in most cases is limited. When we talk about limiting beliefs, an important question is also, whom does it serve? And if you define yourself, identify yourself in a limited manner, like no confidence, I'm not worthy, I don't love myself, it puts you in a reactive situation. It puts you in a situation where you're happy to receive orders, you don't feel confident to ask questions. You could say you're just a little wheel in society, and you are used. You're to the benefit of someone else. And once you understand, wow, I have so much potential, and actually I want to do the things the way I want it. I don't want to run the programs anymore, being told by someone else to me that I should be like this. I shouldn't ask questions. I like, this is the place I'm supposed to be. But once you understand whom does it serve, and this belief, if it's limited, it's not serving you. It's someone serving. It's serving someone else, your environment, by you just being there, like subservient to the situation. And if you realize, like, hey, wait a minute, I want a belief system which serves me, because that's what it's about. It's being me, and creating the life I actually want to live within. And that's why those questions, they help you to understand what's the current belief, but then also have you reflect why this belief might be indeed limited and not what you actually want to have in there.
And I'm also curious, because you say that training others detaches you even more. So does it also have an impact on the people you hang out with and the people that you see regularly as a result of that?
It's a very good question. There was a phase over the last 6-7 months. I don't think especially connected to training others, but it was where I would get a bit angry. Like, why do you think that? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, like being very focused on, and then having the urge to maybe tell people that doesn't make sense, and like then be a bit annoyed if they didn't want to understand or were not curious to actually discover what they were believing. I was kind of projecting my realizations to someone else and wanting them to go to a similar process. And that changed over the last weeks or months in a way that not having the urge to change someone. It's one of the realizations was also that like freedom, in a sense, is also personal realization. Freedom is also to become free of projections, attachments, and expectations towards others, but also giving back projections, expectations from others towards me. So, and that in a nutshell also could mean that you accept how someone thinks, but then also that doesn't mean that you just have to sit there and you cannot go into an argument, but but not because me wanting to change someone, even the other person was not interested at all, but maybe inspire or create an interest or and enter a conversation in that way. And that was one of the discoveries for myself.
Uh-huh.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, cool. Do you still have a last insight you would like to share?
Yeah, sure. So looking back also, and that was also something trainees asked me, did you believe you can help me? That was one question I got. And now looking back to the day when I had my first training session, for example, it was a bit of nervousness, it was excitement, it was all kind of different emotions, and it was also having a question mark, like, will this work? And will I be able to enable someone to expand their mind and see world in a different way? And that was one of the big questions. And it's then also interesting to now I work with 3 ladies, and they all have around 8, 9, 10 sessions. And it's a journey together. There are all kinds of emotions involved. There's like times where it like felt amazing, yeah, and it was like being in flow. There was moments where my mind would also create a bit of story. Does it work or not? And the whole point is then to do it anyway, because you're not your mind. And this is part of the process to go this journey together. And when I look back, and this is one of the important things for everyone to always remember. Our mind sometimes deletes it from our awareness. It's to embrace the change and to witness the transformation we've been on or made over the last period of time, weeks, months, years, because our mind sometimes creates the story that there's no progress, or I have not changed, or and most of you tend to think where you are is normal. You've been always there. And this is also why it's important to do the blog, to record yourself, and to have this calibration with others, to make yourself conscious on one hand on progress and change you already did, and I'm talking here to myself too, but then also to have this kind of, to know that where you are right now is just another snapshot. So in the future you will have a very different perspective possibly and that implies that where you are right now is also not all there is. So it helps you in a way, and to make another step to wait a minute. I know that right now I don't see everything, but on the other hand, it also doesn't matter. It's not about judging, because it's just a journey. And if it were perfect at the moment, there would nothing to be explored. And what I can witness now, and that's also after a few weeks, it was this realization: wow, this actually works, because first of all, of the feedback, but then also witnessing how people talk different. They identify themselves very different. They have far more confidence. They pay far more attention to what they want. Yeah, they wake up to, in a sense, the illusion we all made to believe in, that it's about achievement, that it's about living up to some rules and standards the society imposes on us. And this is really amazing to witness how within weeks within such a short period of time. Like perspective can change. There's more and more flow. You see happiness. It's also surprising, but then also the mind has this mechanisms where then there's a bit of doubt coming. Hey, does it really work? Yeah, like is it really that easy? Yeah, and like I have witnessed in myself, and also at times I still witness it in myself, but then witness it in others, and being able to guide someone through that process. It's every time it makes you understand more. Hey, this is just a mechanism on the mind, and that we are all on this hero's journey in a sense, where we are in the comfort zone, we are with a certain understanding of reality, and then it's venturing into the unknown, challenging our belief systems, doing things in a different way. And then you have this, wow, this actually is working. Life is an adventure. It can't be that easy until you face the abyss, which can manifest internally. It can manifest externally in terms of conflict, stress, distraction, or doubts internal. And where it's like, wow, and your mind deletes your past experience out of your awareness, and you're sitting in there, and you're thinking, you're believing that there's no way out, that this doubt is all there is. You don't remember the good times or the amazing change in perspective. And the funny thing or the good thing is, once you face it, you literally discover the illusion of this doubt, this fear. It's nothing else than a little mechanism who wants to guide you back to your old belief system, nothing else. And it's just holocrons who make you believe that's the way, that's the only way, that's like you have to be where you've always been. But once you face it, and that's why this guidance or training is so powerful. It's once you face it, it's like walking through the holocron and discovering, oh, wait a minute, there's so much place, so much space to expand to, and I can do it the way I want. And this is amazing to witness now in others. Yeah, that's one of the most profound insights for me, to see this mechanism in others, but then also be able together to go through it and to understand together that this is just a journey, and this mechanism is nothing else than an illusion created by the mind. And
awesome. If you want to find out more, make sure to check out councilforhumandevelopment.org, and please share the podcast with your friends on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter with the hashtag Council for Human Development.